Welcome back, one and all, to Trekyards. I am Captain Foley.
I'm, as usual, Commander Cockins. Hope you guys are well.
Today's episode is all about the Romulan Valdore, or Nurixon, that we see in the movie Star Trek Nemesis. And there she is. Beautiful.
It's like a predator, along with the other ship that's also like a predator in the movie. It's like a razor-thin knife. Now, we honestly didn't see much of this ship. And there's very little information about her that's formal prime canon. But requested by a few people, we're just going to stick to that main memory alpha stuff. And obviously what's in the movie as well. For this refined, sleek, and oh so sexy, just like the Valdore / Nrixon.
That's right. And he's, of course, got the Eagle Moss model there. If you guys are interested in picking this ship up or any of the Eagle Moss ships, by all means, click the link in the description down below. Head on over and use the discount code Trekyards to save yourself some money. Eagle Moss is an affiliate of ours, or we're an affiliate of them, and they basically kind of sponsored the episode. So by all means, go check them out. So we're mainly focusing on alpha canon or memory alpha stuff in this particular episode. At the end will be some officially licensed side canon information, and eventually we might do more coverage of this ship with other information.
Things like games and stow. I mean, these things have developed the ship. But we're going to stick to the main primary stuff. So the ship, the Nrixon, the Valdore, it's got all these different names. It is, of course, built and operated by the Romulan Star Empire and the Romulan military especially. And I'm sure the Tal Shiar at some point, although it got blowed up, the new Tal Shiar at some point is listed as a warbird type and began service sometime prior to 2379, but is thought to have been a very, very new design. The vessel is 603 meters in length.
While being similar in design to the much larger and more commonly seen Trekyards class of ships, there were new design influences with this one, making it unique. It was a large fixed-wing design with only one set of upper wings and not the dual pair that joined at the nacelle like the Trekyards. And these sported a dark green or even in some cases a brownish color scheme.
Although to note, it still does have that still split wing, just in a very more minimalist sort of way. It's got all the Trekyards stuff, just repackaged. It's very clever. With a wingspan of roughly 900 meters, 0.00. The vessel featured a large section extending forward to create a downsloped head shape, very Trekyards-y and Romulan-y. Warp nacelles were connected at the end of each wing with impulse engines mounted aft. The hull was marked by the very Romulan-style, distinctively feathery-shaped hull pattern armour extraordinaire.
Ships of the Valdore type featured several forward-mounted disruptor banks located on each wing and some on the forward section of the ship as well. It had at least one forward torpedo launcher able to fire 4 torpedoes for each recharge. And as with all Romulan ships, they of course had the ability to cloak.
I'm sure they thought it was the most advanced cloak at the time.
Until you see the scimitar, which is the perfect cloak.
Yep, which is a Riemann / Romulan. It's good, but it's not that good. In the original screenplay for Star Trek Nemesis, both the first draft and the shooting script, the vessels at the end of the movie were referred to as merely Romulan warbirds, with no indication as to whether they were intended to be the famous, infamous, classic Trekyards class or a new type. Although the film's producers could have feasibly reused the Trekyards class design, either in physical miniature form or in CGI form, the ship obviously appeared in TNG, could have appeared in Nemesis, but they were insistent about wanting a brand new style of Romulan warbird, and by golly, I'm happy they did, because we like...
Because ships. And because Trekyards. Gives us something to talk about, gives us new ships to look at, new Eagle Moss ships to get, and ways to spend our money.
And to be fair, it would have stood out a bit, especially in the context of the battle. There's new Intrepid, there's new Enterprise Z, there's new Scimitar.
I would have liked to see one Trekyards join that fight, though. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, or like first contact it and they bring a task force of multiple. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The job of designing this type of vessel as a new version of the Romulan warbird was assigned to the incredible John Eaves. He decided to base the Valdore on a couple of vessels that had been created years previously, such as the Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, of which he was a longtime fan. He was quoted as saying, "I thought, well, I'll take that and rearrange it a little bit."
He actually proceeded from the then behind-the-scenes assumption, based on an early draft of the script for Star Trek III, that the bird of prey we see is actually a Romulan ship stolen by the Klingons. Eaves based his design off the Valdore on that supposition that the bird of prey was maybe a typical configuration of Romulan vessel of that time, and that the Klingons had either bought or stolen the bird of prey or just its technology. He said, from there, the Romulan warbird Valdore could easily fit into the design realm of what we'd seen before, only heavily modified, he reasoned. Now, obviously, it was not used, the ship, the bird of prey, was Romulan, but it's interesting because if you look at the evolution, this ship, you could say, maybe influenced by the Cavort, because as we see in TNG, 2 Cavorts, they were confident enough to try and take on a Vorcha, very new, very powerful ship, and so that flat-winged configuration with the guns on the side, still a very relevant warship style, and so maybe if the bird of prey is linking to Romulans from pre-Enterprise era, then they modified it, and the Romulans then re-inspired by the Cavort to make this. So it's a nice little circular of making design tropes.
Another starting point that John Eves took inspiration from while producing concept artwork for the Valdore was, of course, the Trekyards class, which had been designed by the Next Generation illustrator Andrew Probert. I ran to Andy's ship for an architectural lineage to use as a cornerstone for the renderings, Eves stated. He was inspired by one aspect of that design in particular. I took the cowling from the front of the TNG warbird and incorporated it into my new kind of stylized bird of prey, he reflected. So it was kind of a progression of the bird of prey and Andy's warbird. Yeah. And I can definitely see the influences. If you look at it directly from the top, it's got a very bird of prey vibe to it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, these guys have been fighting for years. We'll talk about the design stuff at the end as well. But the bridge of Valdore was in fact a redress of the bridge for the Enterprise E. Only a few pieces were actually retained from that configuration of the set. Those that were kept were repainted, recarpeted, and just generally rendered unrecognisable because, budget and smarts. Why not? Because the same base platform was used for both sets. The Romulan version still had the same basic shape as Enterprise E, but a fun little... Stuart, you do the next bit and you'll see how it's actually a bit funner set than you'd think.
Yeah, this is a very interesting hodgepodge or stew and everything in the fridge kind of stew kind of ship. The Valdore's command chair was represented with a Klingon bridge chair that had been used in Star Trek The Motion Picture. The view screen of the Valdore was a reuse of the Sono version from Star Trek Insurrection. Chairs from USS Voyager were incorporated into the set, as was a Cardassian computer console at the center of the room, and 2 computers recycled from the Klingon bird of prey dating way back to Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. So as you can see, reusing props based on your budget, you can create something really fantastic. Because if you look at that bridge on screen, it looks great.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it was. I didn't know it was the same bridge until, Trekyards, literally. In the Star Trek customizable card game, it refers to the Valdore type as the Nerixion class. The Star Trek Titan novels from Pocketbook classify the Valdore type as the Mogai class. Lots of different names, this ship, and all pretty cool, actually. And Mogai obviously was named after a man-sized predatory bird native to Romulus. Star Trek Online does this as well, but features an upgraded version, which is referred to as the Valdore class.
So there you go. Take your pick. What kind of class you want it to be? Because we just don't know. According to the officially licensed Titan series of books, the Valdore type ships are smaller than the Trekyards class vessels, but are newer and more heavily armed with more advanced weaponry. This may explain the significant differences in the appearance of the vessel's weaponry compared to that of the Trekyards class, which is portrayed as firing bright neon green torpedoes and disruptors. Also, according to the Titan series, the Valdore type significantly outnumbers the Trekyards class in terms of numbers within the fleet at this point in the timeline. It's basically become the bird of prey of the fleet. You see them everywhere.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, the Trekyards came out of nowhere, did amazing things, got heavily beaten up throughout the wars, and why not put your eye towards this brand new, thoroughly less hittable ship? Because boy, the Trekyards has a lot of negative space, but as soon as you go above it and shoot, I mean, you're going to hit it. This ship is very cool because it actually is such a razor thin and maneuverable ship that this is a hard beast to hit in terms of tactical power. I mean, the Trekyards isn't a ship of speed. This thing we see do very, very efficient maneuvers. So it's certainly, I guess, changing the... Well, if you look at the 3 generations we see, well, for, I guess, Enterprise, TOS, TNG, and Post, they always radically alter the profile of the ship. You know, from we've got our first cloak and we're going to be powerful but normal. Then TOS, we've got this really powerful singular cannon which can really destroy something. And then these massive ships that you'll be scared of. And then now there's really powerful but maneuverable ships.
And yet, in all those eras, all the ships have that profile or that silhouette from the front that's very slender, very hard to hit. The Derridex is kind of the exception, but even that has all that negative space in the middle. So it's like it's hard. It's not a blunt target to hit, you know. But speaking of sizing, I mean, the Titan series of books say it's smaller than a Derridex, but we've got some.
Well, I mean, it is in terms of internal volume, in terms of height, in terms of raw mass. So I mean, in every, it is smaller, even though it still feels big.
Yes, it does look imposing for sure from the top.
Yeah. And in the fight in Nemesis, it does feel big, like big. It like the wing smashed into the Enterprise E's hull, and it is just the size of the saucer. But I've always liked this ship because I saw Nemesis in the cinema. That was one of the many films I saw in the cinema, and it was like it instantly worked as a Romulan ship. Not often can you do that. And we see obviously other ships that are Romulan, the scout ship, the science ship, the Derridex designed shuttle, all great, but very specific, whereas this really does for me feel like this is gonna come in and wipe the floor with you. In a way, the Derridex felt like this big, massive, just powerhouse of brute force. This feels like the katana, of the fleet. I always liked it.
It's very different from the next generation fleet type. It's like when First Contact came and you got new Federation starships, the Sovereign, the Akira, like definitely the new design influence, more focused on sleeker ships, more battleships than big luxury liners like the Galaxy. Same thing here. The Derridex is huge, bulky, impressive looking. These are a lot smaller, slimmer, faster. They just look more like battleships. So it's that next design evolution of overall fleet design, and that works for me. That's a very neat idea.
But by the same token, I could still see the bulkiest ships existing because this doesn't feel as armored as it could do. And we see in the movie, okay, yes, Scimitar is a crazy cool thing, but it does take a lot less punishment to go through the ship that does the E. It's obviously the hero of the story, but you do get a sense that these ships are probably focusing on offense, and whereas if you can get concentrated fire, they could still be taken out. It would have been kind of fun to have seen another movie and see these things actually fight the E and get a sense of how powerful are they in the grander scope of the universe. Because against a Scimitar, everyone's going to get blowed up, Yeah, but I think it's nice to have magic in a bottle twice. But it's so different magic, but it's still magic. All the little details, and yeah, it's a lovely little ship, which isn't that little.
Anyway, guys, what do you think of the Valdore? Do you think it should be called an Erikson class, the Valdore class, the Mogai class? What do you guys think? Put your comments down below. What do you think of this ship? Do you know any other facts about it that are, from games or whatever that you can include that we might cover in a future video? We look forward to doing extra stuff on all these ships, of course. But this is definitely very canon, very Memory Alpha centric. So put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out all of our social media. It's all in the description below. Our Facebook, our Discord. It's all there. Go check it out. And lots of fun stuff to keep you occupied until the next episode of Trekyards.
Yes, and of course we want to support the show directly and this whole channel because we do a lot more than just the Trekyards show. We do Fleet Yards, and of course I look at Discovery and other breaking news, Trek. You can support us directly by Patreon, which is a monthly donation service. We put a little bit in each and every month, and that goes towards the backbone of knowing we've got fan funding. Means we can not have as much real job as we should in otherwise real life. Put that time towards this, you get more and better content like these really cool episodes we're now doing on these ships. Or a one-time donation at trekyards.com. That's just a thank you. It's a tip, we call it. Or you can join our weekly chats and support via super chats, which are as super as they sound. You just put some little bit of money in, you get to ask a question, have your comment heard. We always read them out on the stream, and if it's a topic that you like and you want to say something, perfect way to both help the channel and get on camera in essence with us and say something cool. So help us out with that and just join the community, because it's always a community thing to talk in these lives. A lot of fun.
And go buy Eagle Moss. Use the
true.
discount code Trekyards.
You can literally
Save yourself
have
some
this.
money. Yes.
You can have the Nurixon. You can have the Valdore. You can have the Mogai. It's very thin.
You can buy 3 of them. Name them all different things within the same ship.
It's very thin though.
Yes, like your eyebrow, like a
Eyebrow.
unibrow. Nice. And while you're shopping at Eagle Moss and you're in the shopping mood, don't forget to check out our Teespring store as well. Description down there. Lots of cool Trekyards merch. Cups, mugs, phone cases, whole bunch of cool stuff now. So check it out. That's another way to support us. So anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Planet Coggins.
See ya.
Bye, guys.